This is the Washington Times front page for Wednesday, May 25th, 2022. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. An 18-year-old gunman shot and killed 19 children and 2 adults in an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, in the latest episode of mass gun violence in America. Repeating a similar, sobering pattern to other recent shootings, the gunman was wearing body armor and had hinted on social media of an upcoming attack. He crashed his car outside the school around 11:30 a.m. Central Time and went inside armed after shooting his grandmother earlier in the day. Susan Freakio reports Texas Governor Greg Abbott said the shooter was killed by police after barricading himself inside a classroom at Robb Elementary School. The shooter, Salvador Ramos, was a resident of Uvalde, a predominantly Hispanic community about 85 miles west of San Antonio. It's the deadliest shooting in an American school since a gunman killed 20 children and 6 adults at Sandy Hook Elementary in Connecticut in 2012. Georgia Governor Kemp rolled over former Senator David Perdue in their primary showdown in another round of elections across the country. Seth McLaughlin reports Kemp had a 73% to 22% lead with 93% of the estimated vote counted. In the Peach State Secretary of State race, incumbent Brad Raffensperger declared victory over Congressman Jody Hice, leading the race 51.8% to 33.9%. Both Perdue and Hice had been endorsed by former President Trump. In other primary results, in Alabama, Katie Britt and Congressman Mo Brooks advanced to a runoff race for the Republican nomination for the Senate. They're running to replace retiring Republican Senator Richard Shelby. Britt is Shelby's former chief of staff. And in Texas, the congressional race for the 28th district seat is still too close to call. Democratic incumbent Henry Cuellar leads challenger Jessica Cisneros 50.5% to 49.5%, though Cuellar has declared victory in the race. Cuellar is the most conservative Democrat in the House. Cisneros, a former staffer of his, has the backing of progressive groups in the race. Federal agents have broken up an ISIS-led plot to assassinate former President George W. Bush in retaliation for the deaths of Iraqis during the U.S. invasion. Joseph Clark and Stephen Dinan report prosecutors say Shabab scouted the Texas neighborhood where the former president lives and looked into buying firearms and Border Patrol uniforms as part of his plot. Shabab told sources cooperating with the FBI that he was working with an organization that included former loyalists of former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. When FBI agents confronted Shabab in April, he said he was trying to help smuggle an Iraqi person into the United States, but he omitted part of his role. Agents from the FBI Joint Terrorism Task Force arrested him Tuesday in Ohio. You can read all these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find all of our podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. President Biden and other leaders of the Asian Quad Strategic Group have issued a carefully worded warning to China, expressing collective opposition to coercive, provocative, or unilateral actions that would change the status quo in the Indo-Pacific. Guy Taylor reports China has triggered unease in recent years by building military bases on disputed islands in the South China Sea. The summit of U.S., Indian, Australian, and Japanese leaders in Tokyo marked the end of the president's week-long visit to Asia. The joint statement did warn against specific moves in the East and South China Seas, such as the militarization of disputed features, the dangerous use of Coast Guard vessels, and efforts to disrupt other countries' offshore activities. Chinese forces have been widely accused of engaging in such moves. A former business partner of the tech expert at the center of the criminal case against Hillary Clinton campaign attorney Michael Sussman testified that he was asked to search internet data to tie associates of Donald Trump to Russia. Jeff Murdoch reports Jared Novick, a top executive at cybersecurity company Blue Voyant, said he was tasked in 2016 with looking for links between the Trump campaign and Russian businesses. He said the assignment came from his then business partner Rodney Joffe, who provided bogus data that Sussman handed off to FBI agents. Sussman is accused of lying to the FBI by saying he was not working on behalf of the Clinton campaign. Defense attorneys say he didn't lie, and his ties to Clinton and the Democratic National Committee were well known to Bureau officials. And finally, a congressional commission has recommended North Carolina's Fort Bragg Army Base be renamed Fort Liberty, a significant step for the Pentagon's 2-year push to eliminate links to the Confederacy in the U.S. military. Mike Glenn and Ben Wolfgang report the commission said 8 other Army installations tied to Confederate leaders should also be given new names. The commission will submit a report to Congress by October 1st, with final approval by Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in your favorite podcast app. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.